This was sent to CornyDriveThru@gmail.com from Craig in Bluffton, South Carolina. Growing up in the 80s and 90s, one of my favorite tag teams was the Bushwhackers. Luke Miller and Butch Williams were bizarro, fun, and entertaining to the 12-year-old version of me with the arms swinging, head licking, and other crazy stunts they pulled.
Can you imagine, by the way, how many kids getting licked now their parents would file some kind of complaint if some random New Zealander just licked their child?
I think their induction into the WWE Hall of Fame was deserved. However, they never won a tag title during their time there. I have 2 questions. First, were the Bushwhackers anywhere close to as wackadoodle crazy as their gimmick had them being? And do you have any stories about them? Second, why didn't Vince put the tag team belts on them?
Oh, yeah, well, I wasn't there at the time to interrogate Vince on his thoughts about the Bushwhackers being tag team champions. I like Luke and Butch, both, really did. And the Sheep Herders were a great tag team. They had those great matches with the Fantastics. That group, Luke and Butch, they had a round with the Fabs also, but the Sheep Herders that came to Memphis in '82 were Jonathan Boyd and Luke. And Jonathan Boyd, as we've talked about before, was just a miserable person, just miserable. He was not a happy person. Luke and Butch were always smiling, always happy. They'd been in the business since the 60s. I liked the Sheep Herders as a team. I didn't like the Bushwhackers as a team, but they made more money with it than they ever had. And they'd both, at that point been in the business, as I said, for 20-something years. And so maybe look at it as a little pension thing for them, where they actually finally made some big money after they'd, been around the world so many times. It was 80s comedy, WWF, a takeoff on the Crocodile Dundee movie with their bushwhacker walk and licking the kids. The Sheep Herders were the most violent, bloodthirsty heel team, juice and fucking weapons and goddamn mayhem. And all of a sudden they become, it was 80s comedy WWF. I like Luke and Butch. The Bushwhackers didn't offend me because they did a good job with it, but the Sheep Herders were a top wrestling team. The Bushwhackers were, did I mention, 80s WWF.
And why didn't Vince put the belts on them?
Well, I don't fucking know. And it was even they were a gimmick team even for him. Did he want to go that route, or just, and a lot of times I would imagine, although I haven't studied this, the Bushwhackers probably won most of their house show matches so that the kids would be happy. Well, if they put the belts on them, that'd be one thing, but then they have to get them off of them, or they're working with the champions for the belts. They've got to lose a lot, and that probably wouldn't have made the kids happy. So I don't think they really needed them.